Part of my personal story with the chair and the Art Links project was that I'm very much a recluse and I sit at home in my chair all of the time. And so when I saw this piece, Art Links, it really pulled me out of my chair, out of my comfort zone, into the art world and linked me into the James Tellon area, and I was able to walk around there. And it's just so fun to me that a chair that I'm making about moving to Sheboygan was the chair, like a magic chair, that pulled me out of my home chair.
My chair has plants on it. I've always wanted to understand the spiritual, medicinal powers of plants. Trying to tie it into Sheboygan's history, I went back to the ancients. I rediscovered Indian Mountain Park and the natives that lived there.
For me, the Art Links Mosaic project was much more than the hard work and satisfying experience of creating a mosaic chair seat, a chair no one will ever sit upon. It was like opening a drawer full of childhood rememberings and history, the colors, shapes, and textures, enhanced by my own words, truly speak to me of my ancestors working with wood. These things lend a context and depth that connects my past to my present.
We moved here in 1978, and on the day that we moved here, or the day that we visited Sheboygan for the first time, Lake Michigan was really muddy and ugly and not attractive at all. And since that time, I've had probably kind of a love-hate relationship with Lake Michigan. We love it in the summer. It's absolutely beautiful, but there's been times in the winter when it's so ugly, and the breeze off the lake sometimes is very cold and it disrupts activities. And so I felt like I had quite a relationship with Lake Michigan all of these years, from one viewpoint or another, and that was my inspiration.
The fact that our family and my children all were raised here, we just think it's a wonderful place. So my chair reflects it in some way. I have some things on my chair that reflect the family, antiques from my family, memories that when I look at the chair, it's blue, and I think of Lake Michigan and living here for 57 years.
Well, my inspiration started with thinking about water, clouds, and greenery, plants and things.
When we first started the project, the leaves on the trees were just starting to change. So I thought, how not unlike a tree, a city is. It goes through seasons, growth, and a city can suffer the loss of a limb like the chair industry was, and with careful management and loving kindness, it can keep going.
I've been living on the Lake Michigan shore for the last 12 years, picking up stones. Before I moved to Oostburg and the lake, I lived close to, walking distance, a few blocks from Mary Knowles' house in Fox Point.
I've found healing through art, and I enjoy sharing that with the community because it works for me. And so I shared as much art as I possibly can and jump into everything I possibly can, and this was perfect.
I love puns. So, since we were doing a chair, I thought I would make it a cherry tree.
My inspiration for my mosaic piece was healing of the Sheboygan River. So helping to monitor the birds, the frogs, the freshwater mussels.
This year has been an extremely transitional year for me, and a lot of the messages in Alice in Wonderland are messages of transition and change. And so the wisdom of the story actually did resonate quite a lot.
I was needing something in September after the loss of a family member, and I realized that reconnecting with art would be a good thing.
And even though I'm from Port Washington, working in the class over the course of several weeks, I found that many of our chairs had to do with loved ones or the environment. So it was very much a connection that way with other people, but it also tapped me into the art community here. And so I feel like I'm taking away so much more than, I had even anticipated. So all of that from a chair.
Sheboygan's got a very diverse history and ethnic, which appeals to me and my own history, and I really enjoyed learning more about the different groups that came, and especially the churches.
Well, my personal story is I was lucky enough to get one of the houses in Sheboygan on the lake. So every time I look out my newly remodeled kitchen, I can just sit and watch the lake. And so that was, to me, the only project I could have done.
My love of quilting and my journey through cancer. I did pieces that reminded me of the lake, which gave me serenity. The Celtic glass gave me the thought of churches and my faith, and the pink heart in the middle was for my journey and my friends that have made it through cancer or have passed through cancer, and the love of the community that combines them.
Actually, all of it. I love the stained glass. It's something I've appreciated for many years, so it's really fun to see the pieces that I haven't looked at before.
I paint, and because I paint, I've painted the lighthouse a couple of times, and I remember when Hurricane Sandy hit the Great Lakes, and how the waves just, were beating against the lighthouse.
Every morning I get up and I look at the sunrise, and I had the most beautiful sunrise over the lake. And Sheboygan County has many lakes, and that was my reason for doing it.
I recently went to a talk on Indian mounds and discovered there were some in the area that I live in. So part of that puts it all together with the woods and the trees and the Indian mounds, and I just love Sheboygan County. I'm a transplant, so.
The life symbol I chose was wheat. And in a way, it's a nod to my mother and all of the mothers in my generations behind me.
My family went to a school called Acorn Elementary. Just wonderful, fond memories of learning and playing there. And I realized that it was a community and it was a family to me. I went on to be a teacher myself, and so the acorn represents that school, that family, and that community.
My life symbol, I picked an owl going towards the eyes of the owl, so they're reflective and they're watching.
Well, in my life and my careers, I have been a journalist and a lawyer and a soccer mom and a photographer, and I've never taken an art class before this.
I think that we keep metamorphosing throughout our lives and keep evolving, and maybe each stage doesn't last very long, but you got to go through those stages.
I chose a basswood leaf because I started wood carving about 24 years ago, and most of my carvings are done in basswood.
The first class, I was like really hung up about what are they saying and what are we doing? And now by the end of it, it's just free flowing. However it turns out, it's gonna be perfect. However it turns out, I have Friday afternoons to do this for me. And I don't think I've ever done that in a really long time.
As an artist, I've been stuck for quite a while. And coming back into this group of creative people has just brought my art career back.
I realized that as an owl, you go on learning forever.
Looking at other people being inspired and how happy they were just makes you more willing to put in more time, more work, and more energy. It's been a lovely experience.
First of all, I'd like to say that I was a little intimidated to take the class. Patty's a dear friend of mine, so she had really encouraged me. Being married to an artist, I was exposed to art all the time, didn't know if I could actually do it, but I've loved it. I've found that, I think anybody really can create art if they want to.
Being so busy in nursing and education, my life evaporated, and here I am at this wild age trying to get back into the mainstream of the fun things. So this art project has been phenomenal for me, really. Thank you, thank you.
It's been an amazing experience.